Okay. Do you guys hear it when I hit record? There's a little voice. Yeah. Okay. It sounds so funny.
We have to approve it.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Oh. Otherwise, does it blank out your face? What happens if you don't approve it? Don't try it now. No, never mind. We'll try that on another.
I think it says we're in or we're out.
Oh.
I guess
maybe you get kicked out.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Okay. Well, very good. So welcome, guys. I think, yeah, it's kind of, it feels like brokering wise, we're kind of, there's still a lot of stuff going on, but the broker or the lenders are so busy right now that it almost feels like we have a bit of a moment to do a little bit of kind of this admin work. So do you guys feel like that too? Yeah, it feels like there's like crazy pauses. Here's an interesting stat for you guys. You know me, and I love my stats. We called around to the various lawyers in the North Okanagan. Kathy probably knows this. The soonest that any one of those lawyers or notaries can close a file is mid to late July.
Yeah, I got notice from our notary, no more files until after July 5th.
Yeah, and that's probably as soon as you could be, like, that's earlier than any Vernon lawyer is doing.
Yeah, and that was a week ago I got that.
Yeah, no doubt it's mid to late July.
I've just had Pusher Mitchell in Kelowna, 5th of August.
Yep, I believe it. So it's really weird
thought they'd be
because
better as a big firm.
Yeah.
So nobody gets holidays there.
Yeah.
They're not approving holidays right now.
Amazing, eh? I never thought that we'd see the bottleneck on the legal side, but here we are.
And the appraisals.
And the appraisal. Although we can kind of deal with the appraisals. Like, it seems like the appraisers are still able to kind of pump stuff out within a 2-week period, but no way for legal. Yeah.
Actually, appraisals not so much down here. I don't know if Judy's finding the same. But purchases are, say, 2 weeks. I've just booked 3 refinances, and the reports will be back by the 30th of June.
Ooh.
Yeah. So no, refinances are a good 3 weeks out.
Yeah. Insane. All right. So that was a good topic. I just wanted to mention that really briefly because it is interesting. I haven't seen it in my time in the industry, so I just wanted to point it out. Okay, I'm going to share my screen with you really briefly here. Google Chrome, where are we here? That's the one. Okay, so you should see this. This is under the help screen, or sorry, the learn button. When you first go to the newton.ca website, learn, getting started. I just wanted to point out this section here, find your expert imported data. So for anyone that has not yet done this, please watch this video. I'm not gonna go through it with you, but what I am gonna do is, if I switch tabs, can you let me know if you see this? Do you see a switch on the screen? It has changed, so you now see my kind of home screen on Velocity. Okay, good. So what that video describes is how to take your existing Biologics expert data and make sure it's tagged properly in here, because if it's not tagged properly, then your CRM kind of doesn't pull the right data. So it's important to get anything that was originally in Biologics and now sits in Velocity and get it so that it is readable, it is workable. So the way we do that is we click here on historical deals. So on the left side of the screen, that black navigation pane, we click historical deals, and you'll see a screen like this. It'll show historical deals. You've got app type, expert status, search, and status change. Okay, I'm gonna move you guys over here. So if I wanted to pretend, you guys won't see this because this is just under the admin tab, but if I want to pretend I'm Judy, then looks like Judy's stuff is all, oh, there we are. Okay, so this is good because Judy hasn't updated this yet. So for most of you that have, if you've updated this, then you won't see anything left here. But assuming you haven't, then what you'll see is as soon as you log in, you'll see a list of files. And what you want to do is you want to start with the app type. So we're just going to go with all applications. And what we're doing with this process is we're going to essentially, again, make it so that anything that was in Filogix will now be kind of readable by Velocity. Up here, we've got a whole bunch of expert statuses. So this is that second drop-down menu. If we go to, let's just go to the paid status. What's going to happen is this list will now update to anything that was paid. And because Judy, I'm sorry that I'm using you, but you're my guinea pig. Are you okay? Okay, she's okay with it. The nice thing is that Judy has been here a while, so we can actually see a bunch of files here. But the nice thing is that because Judy's been here a while, we've got older files, and you'll see here under the last column that all the statuses are marked as paid. And what we want to do with this is just one thing. We want to make it so that the expert status matches the velocity status. So in here, we're going to select the equivalent status. So we essentially, anything that was in Filogix, we want to kind of match it to what it should be in
Can you download
velocity.
it? Can you
Sorry?
transfer it? Can you transfer it all right now?
These are already transferred. Yeah, I can do this for you. So I'll do a couple here for you.
Okay.
But just as you kind of watch here, so I've gone expert status up here. We've selected the paid files. I'm going to change the status to complete. So the equivalent status on Velocity is called complete. So just make a note of that. Almost everything else is the same, but complete. And then what we're going to do is we have to mark two checkboxes. These two here. And what they'll do is the first checkbox indicates that you want to make the change. So this is the left checkbox. Will indicate that you want to change the status from whatever the expert status is to whatever we have marked as the new status. The second checkbox, sorry, is the Canadian anti-spam legislation box. And that just means that you're saying that these clients at some point in the past have given you authorization to contact them.
Okay.
So then I've done that. And you'll see that this only hits 25. We're viewing 1 to 25 of 210 files. So once I've done this for this 25, I have to go up here, top left of the screen. You'll see the blue update button. So we just hit that. Pop-up menu, hopefully you guys can see this. Update historical deals. Are you sure you want to update these selected deals? I want to say yes. And what'll happen is it'll grind away for a minute or so. And once it stops, those files will now be correctly tagged in Velocity. All right. So same thing, if we choose a status that was, for instance, we can call them canceled deals. You can see that Judy actually has no canceled deals. Oops. If we say decline deals, so there's a bunch in there, Judy, that were declined deals, 178 of them. And so you could then move all those declined deals to the equivalent status, which in this one, you could have it as declined.
Okay.
So then again, we're going to check, we have to uncheck these two boxes and then recheck them. And then again, I'm looking at taking the expert status of declined and moving it to the velocity status of declined. And then we just hit update. It asks us again to make sure, yes. And then once that has a chance to grind through, then those will have finished doing their thing. And that'll be that. So make sure that when you go into your Velocity files, that you make sure you update this part. All right, so I'm going to put the floor open to anyone. I'm going to stop sharing my screen here to see if that all makes sense. All makes sense? Good.
So you
All right,
only,
so yeah.
so, Peter, you only passed over part of my files. I still got to go in and move the rest of my files over. Okay.
Yeah. Darn, hey. Judy's like, oh, my files are going to all be done for me.
Nice try.
All right. What is that saying on the chat here? How come I see no earbuds? Oh, who's wearing their earbuds? Brent's got them. Anyone else?
I'm just
Catherine,
a
you got
loud
them?
person.
What's that?
I just go full on loud in the office.
You don't care because it's family. All right. All right. So that was the first part that I wanted to cover, because as long as we've got that part done, and as long as the files are correctly tagged in Velocity, then the CRM should work properly. So there's one step. And then the next thing I wanted to cover is the CRM. And what's really cool is I've been starting to fiddle around with it, because I will tell you this, the CRM it's a big project, and we've been working with Debs on this. Lynette has been doing a bunch of background work, and there's a bit of work. There's some templates available, and the templates are okay. Basically, the CRM, if I can kind of describe it in a nutshell, it's a two-part process. The two parts are, number one, creating a template for the particular thing you want to do. So my template that I was working on, just as a test, was a test property tax template. I just wanted to essentially put out that, hey, it's June 10th. You're going to have to pay your property taxes soon. So here's how you do it. That's basically my template. Created this little template. So I will show you, if I can, how to do that by going into here. All right. I'll share my screen here. Here we go. Okay. All right, so you guys see my screen here. This is the Velocity CRM. And you find the Velocity CRM through the left side of the screen on the navigation, that black navigation bar, and you'll just click on Velocity CRM. This is the screen that comes up when you click on Velocity CRM. So again, like I said, there's two parts. One is to create a template. The second part is to actually create a campaign. So template is, what are we sending out? And the campaign is, who is it going to hit? That's really the bulk of what we want to do. So you'll see right here in the middle of the page when you are in the Velocity CRM that it says create templates. So we click on that. And you know what? I'm going to just show you. Oh, I don't have one because this is, okay, so this is good. I did it in Sue's Velocity. That's why I didn't see the one I had. But basically we've got, you can either create a template here, or you can, if we click on create, you can actually take any one of the pre-created templates and use those. So there are two tabs at the top, network theme and generic themes. So network theme is kind of like DLC branded templates. They're slowly loading up here. And then generic themes are just random, regular stock type pictures. So we can choose this, let's call it the happy birthday template. And we can go happy birthday test. So always name your template when you're going to do this, but just so you know, we can do that. And then it's going to go ahead and it's going to create that template using the DLC branded generic template. And this is what it looks like. So once we're in creating, you'll see that there's a few parts to this. Again, we've got the DLC brand at the bottom. We will have our name and our information all input in here. And there's some generic text. So you'll see that it has hi, and then it has this kind of weird, funny bracket recipient first name. So it's going to automatically pull the correct first name that's listed in Velocity. And it'll, so if I'm sending this out to Judy, it would say, hi, Judy. A little bird told me that it's your birthday today. I just want to take a moment and send you the warmest wishes for an incredible birthday celebration. I hope all your dreams come true. This is so cheesy. May this be your best year yet. So if you love cheese, this is great. You might want to tone it down. You might want to bring it up. However your style is, at least this is a start because it's got a nice little image and it's got a great little setup. It's got sincerely from you. It'll have your name and details at the bottom. So that's a kind of a basic template. And if you want to use this as is, you just basically have to say, I love it, it's perfect, hit save up in that top right. And it says, success, your template has been saved. Then all you have to do is basically go back on the left side of the navigation pane. You just go back there, and then that template has now been added to your list of templates that are ready to go. So that's a very simple step one. Step two is actually creating a campaign. So in here, you'll see right in the middle of the page is manage campaigns or create a campaign. And we're just going to click on create. You'll also see that Velocity has created a whole bunch of default campaigns. Now, I'm not going to go too in depth into what this looks like, but what I would recommend is start by creating a campaign that you can send to yourself. So if you don't already exist in Velocity as a client, create your own client profile and have it so that you send it out to yourself. I thankfully have a very near and dear client who's my brother, and I'm okay to admit that because he lets me. And he is my guinea pig. So I send him test emails, and I can tell you guys that I sent one out because I really wanted to see if this was going to work. And he sent me this image back. So I'll just show you guys because he was on his phone. So he sent me this back. So he said, yep, it came through. So I was doing it's almost property tax payment time. So this is a campaign, and this is how it came through to him. So you can see that it actually works well. And he actually didn't send me the full picture because he was just taking a screenshot on his phone, but our image is down there. So it does pull all the proper details, which is cool.
Peter, Lynette's been trying to send out a campaign for me and it's not working.
I know, and I'm working with her on that. We're trying to work through where the details are. I wanted to bring this up as just a general, here's how the kind of couple steps are, because these are sessions where I'm trying to give big picture topics, and then we try to nail down into how it works. Again, I'm still super new to all of this. I was really more focused in the last few months on figuring out Velocity, figuring out how it integrates with the application, how you're communicating with clients. And I think we've had a couple sessions where we've talked a little bit about that. In this one, I'm just touching on this. I think we're going to do a lot more on exactly how it all works. But I wanted to briefly touch on starting to create a template, because that's going to be your first step. So when you want to start this, and I know with Deb, our goal right now is to create the birthday. Yes, it's the birthday ones, right, Deb?
I actually have a few that I need to get going on that I had before, and I'm going antsy here.
Yep. So we're working on it. It's definitely I'm not perfect, but I'm trying to work my way through and figuring out how they all go out. At least I've had success with sending it out to one person, and that's always my test: is can I actually get it to do one? Because once I get one, then I start to nail down on how various other things work. I have to admit, the template part is the easy part. So fiddle around with the templates, figure out what you want to do, and what you want your clients to see. So do you want them to get a communication on their mortgage anniversary? Do you want them to get a communication on St. Patrick's Day or whatever, right? You can figure out, I think best is write it down on a piece of paper, figure out what you want to have sending out, and then create those templates. So again, for me, I'm really kind of keep it short and sweet. So property tax, it's time to pay your taxes. Here's the link to the homeowner grant website, and here's how you pay the taxes. So that was the bulk of that email that I sent to my brother. But the hard part in all this is not the template, it's the campaign, because the campaign requires a lot of forethought. It's basically, it's a question of how do we logically get Velocity to look through all the data and figure out which client it's going to pick out. And that does require a lot of thought, because not only are you thinking about, this is, at this time of year, we could pretty much send this property tax campaign to every one of our clients. But really, it's not every one of our clients. It's probably the clients that have funded a mortgage in the last 5 years, because ones prior to that may have already either renewed, maybe they've transferred, there could be all sorts of other things that have gone on. So maybe the last 5 years, and only files that are marked as complete, because if they're ones that were started but never completed, I think the email would come through and the client would be like, why are you saying this to me? I didn't even finish a mortgage. I don't have that house. So there may be a lot of kind of trickery that we have to do with this. So we have to kind of say, okay, of all these people that sit in your database, how do we make sure we hit the right ones? And I think that's the real trick. So that if you look in at the templates for the campaigns, this is the tricky part, is the campaign. Look at those templates and look at how they've kind of said, okay, here's who it's going to go to. We're going to send it out to, again, anything that's funded in the last 5 years, anything that's marked paid complete, anything that has a mortgage term that is still active. So even if maybe you funded a mortgage 5 years ago, but its term was 3 years, that mortgage may not exist anymore. So there's all these little tricks that you kind of have to include. So again, have a quick look at that. I wanted to bring it up as like, here's some food for thought. I'm going to take this next couple of weeks to delve a little bit more into it and see how these campaigns are actually flowing through, because there are a lot of tricks to it. Now, I'm going to put this open to you guys. Has this helped a little bit in getting at least some knowledge about what's going on within not only Velocity, but then the CRM stuff? Cool. You guys all look so happy. Everyone's like, oh my God.
So
okay.
Can we pick the last 5 years, Peter? Like when we're picking to send a campaign, how do we pick the last 5 years of closing?
Okay, I'll show you. I'm going to bring back this screen here. Okay, so I'm going to go to this anniversary. So there's a default here for an anniversary campaign. Okay. Where did it go? Oh, that's not what I want. Okay, so if I go here, it's because I can't see it. If I go here to under mortgage anniversaries, you'll see here that says the deal type is based on a deal type campaign. It has an email that's going to go out, and there's 4 stages. This 4-stage thing, this is where it determines what's going on. So I'm going to hit this one. I'm going to say use it, and then I can kind of delve into it to show you what's happening. So here at the top, and I can go through each one of these. There's just the name. The dynamic audience. So the reason that it has a dynamic audience is because it's going to pick and pull as to which clients are going to be part of this. But here it's indicating that we're looking for an audience where we're targeting the borrowers, we're targeting all borrowers, And in addition to that, what are the things that need to exist? So in this next box, you see that it shows that the deal status is at least funded and awaiting payment. So that's one way to say, okay, it's only the mortgages that are funded and potentially anything that's after funded. So that's complete. So those are the files that we're targeting, and the application type is an approval. So if it were a pre-approval, then it could potentially somehow sit into this funded and awaiting payment. I don't know how that would happen, but again, you're just narrowing it so that it's only approvals. And now the stages are these various things that can happen. So like you could have like you see here, the mortgage anniversary year 1. And the mortgage anniversary year 1 has a bunch of rules. Maturity date is after today, and that the closing date has occurred 1 year ago. So again, it's going to automatically target things that have these particular rules. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah.
So that's kind of why these get complex, because there's a lot of potentially moving pieces. Instead of us, the old school way is we would have said, okay, I've got my spreadsheet. I can see who funded a year ago. I'm just going to type. This person funded, done. What this is doing is this trying to figure out, okay, I don't have a spreadsheet, but I know all these various bits and pieces that exist in the file, including funding dates, statuses, and things like that. So that's kind of why I started this whole presentation with make sure the status is correct. Because if we don't have Velocity with the correct status, it's not going to be able to pull the correct files. And then the second part is, okay, now let's get our thinking caps on. How do we make sure that on a 1 year anniversary, it's kind of targeting just those clients? And so look into how this campaign is structured, and then you'll be able to see how these all flow through. But I think that's going to be the hard part, is figuring out how do we get it to pull the right bits of data. And so there is a lot of logic involved. So I'm going to try to do my best to kind of learn and figure out and make sure that we have the proper templates, but use the templates that are already in there, use the campaigns that are already kind of supplied as a starting point, because I think they will hit the right things. Make sense?
Yeah.
Awesome. And yeah, so that's kind of what I wanted to do for today. Do you guys have questions on anything that we've hit on today or in the past? I think so. Tracy, I did get a message back from Velocity. It's been sporadic and slow because they keep closing my ticket when I don't think I have the answer. But anyway, I did get a message back about the fact that there should be, again, I haven't confirmed this because I haven't seen it yet, but there should be a document created within each file if the client has gone through the client experience that gives us the consent. Have you seen that document within the conditions?
No, and I've searched everywhere, and I've been watching the Velocity Facebook group, and that question has been asked dozens of times, never with a proper answer.
Okay, so we're still searching. Well, apparently,
and my concern is I always get the client agreement at the end anyway, but my concern is those people that we don't go all the way with. So like I said to you the other week, so somebody called your office and said, oh, I've had a credit check done by White House Mortgages. What was that for? I think Lynette identified it was me. I identified that I had the authority. I went back to the client. If I don't have anything signed, then I can't do it.
Tracy?
Yeah.
It's not usually our habit to go all the way with the clients. So I just wanted to caution you on that.
Is that because of that Skype message I sent you? Goodbye.
Karma, baby.
I don't know. I've been through many conversations in the office where, I don't know, people go a little gaga over certain clients, but I don't know. What do I know? I'm just like Brian and I are the token
Never
guys in
mind.
the office.
Did you happen to remind people not to bring pineapple into the office?
No, I have not. I wasn't technically supposed to be in the office today, but yes, I will send out a runner. So anyone that's on this call, not that, I mean, Kristen is the one that would be in the Vernon office, but no pineapple. Deb dies when pineapple comes into the office. So apparently one of the brokers, not mentioning any names, another guy in the office, happened to bring in a pineapple smoothie. Whoops. Not like he didn't know, just forgot. So anyway, nearly killed Deb. We need her. We need her for a little while yet. Yeah, just a little while, just like
a little while longer till they get everything done. Then they're going to kill me off and take over the business. You know, succession planning. That's what's going on.
Less obvious than that. But
I told the kids.
It's not like an accident.
Yeah, right. I told the kids when I'm on my deathbed to just bring me a piece of pineapple so I can at least taste it.
It's really yummy. I like pineapple. And I've held up because I have not had pineapple in the office. All right. Well, if you guys have anything that is pressing, Tracy, I am still working on it because like you, I have not gotten a totally straight answer on it. They say, yes, I've sent you the answer. And I'm like, I'm still searching because I don't see it. But I'm going to keep on this because I do want to get the details of what we get from Velocity for a consent, because even with Filogix, there was like it wasn't a form, but there was a record, because Filogix tags a history, and in the history it'll actually indicate that this client has done this has done the application online. That suffice for consent. But I don't know how we can prove that in Velocity because it doesn't have a history. So yeah, I'm still on it. So I'm working on that. If you guys have any other things that you need me to investigate, or if there's something that you're not finding answers to, then feel free to email me. I'm happy to kind of keep digging in on these things. But yeah, it's a work in progress for all of us. And I hope that these little sessions help kind of clarify a couple things for you.
So Peter, in the meantime, for the consent, do we get an email? We get an email saying that the client has filled out the application. So if we printed off that email, is that our consent form for right now, like it was in Expert in Filogix?
No. Yeah, I don't think it actually specifically can be printed out. Like I don't think there's anything in there that we can then tag to the file that says, here's a consent form. The one thing you could do, and I thought about this, but it's not that it's super clunky, but it's a little clunky, is you could actually, as part of the client experience, I believe you can upload a document that attaches to the client experience, which would be our client agreement. So if you wanted to tag that client agreement and attach it to the original email that's sent out, that would be something. The reason I call it clunky is because I don't believe you could automatically have it signed like through DocuSign or e-sign. Because it's attached, the client would have to print it out, sign it, scan it, and attach it back in. Not perfect.
It's just a thought. So, and actually I might try this. So when you send out a client experience, there are two boxes that, client has to tick. One's the castle one is the credit authority. I'm wondering what happens if the client doesn't click the credit authority. Does the application come through? Are we notified they've said no? Because we're assuming at this moment in time that when an application is submitted, the answer is yes. I might try that actually.
I think so. That's exactly my thought too, is to try it. Yeah. I
So
will
is
try
the-
that as well, and then I will report back for the next meeting. 'Cause
I had a couple that told me they had submitted their application and I never got an email for them. And I wonder if they clicked no and I just wasn't notified. Their application's there.
I've had that too, Kristen, and it ended up that it was in Leeds.
Yes. Yes, that's where it is. So they just didn't fill it out properly, or is that okay? Because it is
So-
missing. They did miss. She didn't. The one didn't put in her social insurance number, but it didn't tell me they didn't check one thing. I never got notified. That happened. It's happened twice, but they didn't. I didn't even get an email. I just finally they phoned and said, "Oh, well, we filled that out," and then I had to search it, and I went, "Oh yeah, there it is."
Mhm.
But I don't know why I never got notified.
Well, I know I sent an email to Kevin Deere and I got an email back from him saying that they're looking into it. They don't know why it came through, that it just went to Leeds.
Leeds.
And I went, well, and that was like 12 years ago and I haven't heard back. So
Right. Right.
I might be exaggerating, but maybe only by a year or two.
Right. Yeah. Because I always get an email saying you have a new application, and those I guess
So-
I don't know the difference. I just thought now when you were saying that, Tracy, I wondered if they didn't check yes, and that's why it just went into Leeds instead.
So this was on June 1st, and he said, "We're reviewing your account. So far, it appears that the clients have it in some cases hit the submit button, and the application is sitting there as lead status, even though it is all in the application data. I will let you know later today."
that was the message you got by courier pigeon? All right.
No, he sent the message to me through Velocity. Sorry.
I was trying to help your cause. All right. Hang on one sec. Okay, so we'll figure out, Tracy, you want to do your test. I'm going to do a test through Sue's site and see what happens when we don't check these. And then I will report back on our session 4, which I've got set up for 2 weeks from now. And then we can kind of keep working through some of this stuff. I appreciate you guys sending me any feedback. So if you find that, Kristen, that you're not getting a notification on something, let me know, because then I can kind of, again, there's been a couple times where there's been a few brokers that have had something like this. So I think it's nice to, if you guys ever have anything, CC me on any communication you might have with Velocity or Kevin or the support crew, just so I can kind of identify things that might be happening firm-wide. Cool. Well, thank you guys. Have a fantastic rest of your Thursday. Hopefully it warms up a little bit, but not too much, because we don't want to have forest fires. But have a great Thursday. Tomorrow is payday, so some of you guys get paid. Woo! And yeah, for those of you that don't, beans, hot dogs, the usual. That's me. Deb doesn't ever pay me. I don't know why. You guys have a great day. We'll see you guys next week.